Morning show at East Coast FM, and I know a lot of people sort of changed their eating habits for, well, I suppose looking after the interests of the planet. And one thing is to cut down maybe on dairy and change to soya milk or some other milk alternative than have dairy milk. But a story emerged last week, and it was to do with what's going on in the Amazon. And seemingly growing evidence shows that soya is linked to Amazon deforestation, making it far less eco-friendly than many consumers realize. Let's talk to Sandra Higgins, Director of Go Vegan World and Eden Farmed Animal Sanctuary. Good morning, Sandra.
Declan, thank you for having me on.
Good morning. So for someone like you, I'd imagine this story is disappointing.
It's surprising to see that this kind of a myth is still circulating. This is a well-known disinformation campaign put out by the dairy industry, but this is a wonderful opportunity actually to help listeners become educated on the facts. The largest cause of deforestation by far is land clearance for the beef and dairy industry. Now, without a doubt, the production of soy is a cause of deforestation, but to get a good understanding of it, you really need to look at the consumption patterns that are driving it. So 77% of global soy production and 96% of the soy produced in the Amazon rainforest is fed to farmed animals. So the biggest consumers of soy are the non-vegans consuming dairy, animal flesh, fish and eggs. So the amount of soy that's used for direct human consumption is only 6 to 7%. And if you compare 7% of global soy production is fed to farmed animals, only 2% is used to produce soy milk. So conflating the consumption of primary consumption with secondary consumption, that is confusing people who eat soy products with people who eat soy-fed animals, it's a form of disinformation. So it's not just, that the facts are wrong. It's deliberately put out to mislead and blame the minority of primarily vegans and those consuming a plant-based diet for deforestation and environmental damage caused by the dairy, flesh and egg industries.
So you've no qualms yourself about consuming plant-based product, particularly soy milk products?
Why would you? Why would you? First of all, it's the most ethical form of consumption because animals are not exploited, harmed or killed for plant products. Secondly, it's the most environmentally friendly. It's, using land to graze farmed animals and growing crops to feed those animals is extremely inefficient. It takes 50 to 100 times more land to produce 1 calorie or 1 gram of protein in the form of lamb or beef, flesh that comes from a cow or a sheep, in comparison to the land that is used to produce plant-based products. So it's much more environmentally friendly. So
right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you would say, continue using soy milk and it's better than dairy.
Oh, of course it is, because soy is a crop. It's an environmentally friendly crop. It's a legume. And anybody interested in the environment will say that producing food that reduces land use, water pollution, water use, and reduces the loss of biodiversity is the most ethical. Mm. And in that sense, plant-based products are way better than animal products. If we switch consumption from animal products to a vegan diet, we'd save 75% of land use. We would radically reduce the amount of water we use, including the pollution of water, reduce the loss of biodiversity by 66%. We reduce land use by 75%. So these are astounding figures.
Yeah, at the same time, we'd be importing this soya, wouldn't we? Soya and soy?
Well, most of the products on Irish shop shelves, most of the soy products, so we're talking about soya milk, tempeh, tofu, and analogues that are made from soy. That's coming from the EU. So the soy is grown in the Amazon for sure, but it's also grown in the United States and around Europe. And there is a move with the soy moratorium not to produce products that are the result of soy grown on deforested land. But anybody consuming meat and dairy is responsible for deforestation, because the greatest cause of deforestation is land clearance for the beef and dairy industry. The production of soy is a secondary consideration, and it's a very important one. I'm not underestimating it, but just look at the figures. Only 6% to 7% of the soy that's produced to produce plant foods like tofu, that, for eating soy products directly, it only consumes 6 to 7% of global soy, whereas 70% of global soy is fed to farmed animals and recycled through those animals, and those animals then are killed and they're consumed by humans.
Right. Okay. Well, I know there'll be a debate about soya and soy coming from South America in the meantime, but I take your points. Thanks very much indeed, Sandra. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Declan.
Thank you. That's Sandra Higgins there, Director of Go Vegan World and Eden Farm Animal Sanctuary.